Have you ever wondered how nutrition has played a pivotal role in the evolution of life on Earth? It's a fascinating narrative, one that intertwines the survival, growth, and reproduction of all living organisms with the nutrients they consume. Picture this: the primordial soup, a concoction of gases and minerals bubbling under the early sun's rays. From this simple mixture, life sprung forth, driven by the need for nutrition. That's the crux of it all, nutrition. It's the fuel that powers the engine of life. When we talk about nutrition, we're referring to the process by which organisms obtain the energy and materials needed for their survival, growth, and reproduction. This process is not the same for all organisms. In fact, the diversity of life on Earth is largely due to the different modes of nutrition. Let's take a closer look at one of these modes: autotrophic nutrition. Autotrophs, like plants, are self-feeders. They don't need to hunt or gather food. Instead, they make their own food using sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. Imagine being able to whip up a feast from just air and sunlight. That's the marvel of autotrophic nutrition. But it's not just about making food. Autotrophic nutrition has also played a significant part in the evolution of life on Earth. It's driven diversity, adaptations, and survival strategies, one of which is the development of chemical defenses. These are the natural pesticides that plants produce to protect themselves from being eaten. Interestingly, autotrophs didn't always have these chemical defenses. So how did they evolve? And why? What pressures drove plants to develop their own natural pesticides? These are intriguing questions that delve into the heart of evolution and survival. Without nutrition, life as we know it wouldn't exist. But how does this connect to evolution? Let's dive deeper. To understand how nutrition affects evolution, we must first grasp the different modes of nutrition. The world of biology recognizes two primary types of nutrition: autotrophic and heterotrophic. Each of these modes of nutrition plays a unique role in how organisms sustain themselves and contribute to the larger ecosystem. Let's start with autotrophic nutrition. Autotrophs are self-feeders, deriving their energy from non-living sources. They don't need to consume other organisms because they have the remarkable ability to produce their food. This process is primarily seen in plants, certain types of algae, and some bacteria. They harness energy from sunlight or chemical reactions to generate nourishment. This process is known as photosynthesis, a term you might be familiar with if you've ever wondered why leaves are green. Photosynthesis is a complex and intricate process. In a nutshell, autotrophs use sunlight to combine carbon dioxide and water, creating glucose, which acts as their food, and oxygen, which they release into the atmosphere. This process is vital not just for the survival of autotrophs, but it also significantly contributes to the life cycle of all organisms on Earth by producing the oxygen we all breathe. Now let's briefly touch upon heterotrophic nutrition. Unlike autotrophs, heterotrophs cannot produce their food. Instead, they rely on consuming other organisms, whether they're plants, animals, or both. This group includes animals, humans, and many types of bacteria and fungi. Shifting our focus back to autotrophs, it's important to note that autotrophic nutrition has had a profound influence on the evolution of these organisms. Particularly, it has played a significant role in the development of chemical defenses in plants and certain bacteria. These defenses help protect autotrophs from being consumed by heterotrophs, ensuring their survival and propagation. Autotrophic nutrition is a fascinating process, and it's had a significant impact on the evolution of chemical defenses in these organisms. This mode of nutrition is a testament to the wonders of nature and the complexity of life on Earth. Autotrophs, while seemingly defenseless, have developed unique chemical defenses over time. But how? Our story begins with autotrophs, the self-feeders of our world. Unlike us humans, they don't need to hunt or gather. They're the original do-it-yourself species, creating their own food by harnessing the power of sunlight through photosynthesis. But living the easy life comes with its own challenges. Herbivores and pathogens are always on the prowl, looking for an easy meal or a host. To fend off these threats, autotrophs have developed a fascinating array of chemical defenses over the eons. These defenses are not part of their primary metabolism, which is busy with growth and reproduction. Instead, they are part of what we call the secondary metabolism. These secondary metabolites have no direct role in growth, development, or reproduction. Instead, they serve to protect the plant in its environment. You see, evolution is a game of survival, and autotrophs are very much players in this game. Over time, they have evolved to produce a wide variety of these secondary metabolites, each with a unique way of deterring predators and pathogens. Some of these chemicals are toxic, some are bitter, and some even mimic the hormones of insects to disrupt their growth and reproduction. It's a chemical warfare out there. Interestingly, many of these secondary metabolites have found uses in human society. Some of our most potent medicines and intoxicants come from these plant defenses. From the salicylic acid in your aspirin to the caffeine in your coffee, these are all part of the Autotrophs arsenal. But what powers this complex and energy-intensive process of secondary metabolite production? The answer, as you might have guessed, lies in photosynthesis. This process of converting sunlight into chemical energy not only fuels the growth and reproduction of autotrophs, but also their defense. These chemical defenses are a crucial part of autotrophs' survival strategy. But what powers this process? The answer lies in photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a fundamental process that powers life on Earth. But how does it work? Well, let's dive into it. Imagine you're a plant. You're basking in the sun and you're hungry, but you don't reach for a snack. Instead, you reach for the sunlight. That's right. You're an autotroph, meaning you make your own food through a magical process called photosynthesis. Now let's break it down. Photosynthesis is essentially a two-part series. The first part is all about capturing light energy, and it happens in the chloroplasts, the green pigmented parts of the plant cells. This light energy is absorbed by chlorophyll, a pigment that gives plants their lush green color. Now here's where the magic happens. The light energy absorbed by the chlorophyll is used to split water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen. This process, known as photolysis, generates oxygen, which is released into the atmosphere, and hydrogen, which is used in the next stage of photosynthesis. Moving on to the second part of the process, the carbon fixation. This takes place in the stroma, another part of the chloroplasts. Here, the plant uses the hydrogen from the first stage and carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to produce glucose, a simple sugar. This glucose is then used to fuel the plant's activities and growth. So in short, photosynthesis is the process where light energy is converted into chemical energy, producing glucose and oxygen. It's a beautiful symbiosis, really. The plant gets to make its own food, and we, along with other animals, get to breathe fresh oxygen. But it's not just about feeding and breathing. Photosynthesis is also a key player in the carbon cycle, helping to regulate the Earth's climate by absorbing carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas. Photosynthesis is not just a process, it's a lifeline for autotrophs and the planet. It's a testament to the intricate and interconnected nature of life on Earth, a magic show that plays out every day in every leaf, in every blade of grass. So the next time you're out in the sun, take a moment to appreciate the magic of photosynthesis. So how do nutrition, chemical defenses, and photosynthesis tie together? Well, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. We've learned that nutrition is the fuel of life, and how an organism obtains its nutrition defines its lifestyle and its role in the ecosystem. Autotrophs, like plants, have the unique ability to make their own food through photosynthesis, a process that's as magical as it is complex. This mode of nutrition, however, exposes them to a myriad of threats. Unable to move or escape, they've had to evolve other ways to protect themselves. And so the evolution of chemical defenses was set in motion. These defenses, intricately woven into their metabolic processes, are often products of photosynthesis itself. Take, for instance, the production of secondary metabolites. These chemicals, which may taste bitter or be toxic to other organisms, are autotrophs' way of saying, "I'm not an easy meal." These secondary metabolites are made from the same basic building blocks produced during photosynthesis. In essence, the energy of the sun, captured and converted into chemical form, not only fuels their growth, but also their defenses. So it all circles back. The way an organism feeds influences how it defends itself, and this defense is often dependent on the very process that fuels its existence. As you can see, nutrition and evolution are inextricably linked, shaping life as we know it. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the role of nutrition in evolution to the magic of photosynthesis. We've explored the fascinating ways autotrophs use chemical defenses for survival and the basic processes that fuel life on Earth. It's a captivating journey, isn't it? To delve deeper into the mysteries of nature, keep this learning spirit alive. Remember, understanding nature's intricate processes helps us appreciate the world around us. Subscribe for more insightful content like this. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning,